Welcome to the game room.
Hey, welcome back to the channel. Let's paint Holden. This one I'm going for similar to what the box art is. But we've got his shoes, pants, his belt, his outer shirt, his undershirt, skin, hair, as well as the gun, which is a shotgun. So let's talk about his pants. I wanted to do his pants a little more of a lighter blue than what I've done in some of the other videos with the ultramarines, rather than just mixing ultramarines with the contrast medium. I added an apothecary just to lighten it up. I wanted to go for more of a light blue, so that's what you see me putting on right here. It's probably about 50, 50, 50, so about 1 to 1 to 1 of each. But again, I mean, mix it however you want. I mean, whatever color you want to do. What I did find out is, and we'll get to that in just a second, it was a lot lighter than I was anticipating, and it was a little too light, too much gray showing through. So in the next step, I will add in probably about 2 more times of the Ultramarines blue into the same mix to where it's really more of a 3-1-1, and I'll go over it all again while it's still wet. And it really gives me the lighter blue jean look that I'm looking for. So as you can see, the first coat was still wet, didn't wait, just went straight to it. And the darker really helps just make it look more blue jean, less gray showing through. And it looks more like a blue jean to me anyway. Okay, for Holden's skin, we're going to do it in a darker skin. We're going to start with Dryad Bark, then we're going to put a shade of Druchii Violet on it, and then we'll come back and do a dry brush, or wet dry brush as I call it, of the Oak Brown to lighten the skin up. But we're going to get on his face, his hands, his neck. Just make sure you get a good coating. Try to keep it to the skin. It's a little darker. This is one of the few times we're not using a contrast. There's other ways to do dark skin tones. I just liked this one because it worked really well for me and it was pretty straightforward. Okay, now we're going to just give that Dryad Bark a wash of the Druchii Violet, or a purple wash that you like the purple wash from Army Painter would probably do just as well. Again, we're just going to get it all over the skin, his face, neck, and his hands. Okay, while that shade dries, we're going to move on to other parts of the model. So we're going to use a straight white, any white you want to use for his undershirt. Now, keep in mind that undershirt also has sleeves, which is going to go under his outer shirt, so because it's an undershirt that goes under his outer shirt, but it has, yep, whatever. Look at the model, you'll see it. So we're just going to paint that base color white. We'll come back and shade that later with apothecary white to give it some depth and some shading. And as you can see here, I forgot the sleeves, which is why I told you don't forget the sleeves. So anyway, Griff Hound Orange for the outer shirt. This is a contrast paint, works beautifully. And we've talked about contrast paints before. Just get it on, work it around, get it into the recesses, and try not to get it anywhere else. If you do, break out your Gray Seer base paint to touch it back up. Again, all of our models were primed with Gray Seer to start with. I really liked how the Griff Hound Orange turned out. It works really, really well. Black Templar contrast for his hair. Don't go too heavy. I mean, you can do whatever color you want. I liked a little bit of the gray, so it's really light on top. We've talked about the contrast paints for hair and fur, and if you don't go too heavy on it, it gives you a really, really cool effect. You've seen it in some of the other videos. I do all the hair in contrast paints, and I really like the effect that it does because it sits down in the recesses, leaves the upper bumpy parts, the upper layers of the hair painted, but in a lighter tone, and it works really well. All right, now that Druchii Violet has had a chance to dry, we're going to go back and touch up the skin with the Oak Brown. Now, it's, like I said, it's not a dry brush, but I got paint on the brush, kept it very light, and you just want to hit the highlights. Similar to how you were doing, if you watch the other videos, how we're doing the basic skin tone, just the parts that are hitting the light. Same thing here. The parts that would hit the light in the lighter oak brown, which is lighter than the dryad bark. His cheekbones, his nose, forehead, just kind of like what you see I'm doing there. Everywhere but the deep recesses is really what we're trying to get to, but don't put too much on or you'll have to start over. All right, another contrast here, Agaros Dunes for his shoes. Good brown color, which goes well with the blue jeans and the orange shirt. And again, in the contrast line, there's a bunch of different browns. I just try to mix it up. Agaros, Skeleton, the Skeleton Horde, Snakebite Leather tend to be my go-to, my favorite, but I do use a lot of the others. All right, as we mentioned before, Apothecary White to shade the white parts of his t-shirt, which you can see I now have the sleeves painted. And again, not too much, but enough to give you the shading that you want. The Apothecary White really shades white really well. I think you'll see the effect when you're done. All right, snakebite leather for the belt. And we're going to go ahead and use that on the stock of the shotgun as well. All right, gunmetal for the barrel of the mighty boomstick that he's holding. And just be real careful. This is basically your last step, so you don't want to touch your brush against anything else. It'll, that you'd have to go back and fix. I apologize for being off the screen there, but you get the idea. We're just trying to very gently, very carefully get the metal portions of the gun. And then we'll also just touch the metal portions of the belt. And here he is, all done and dry. Again, another extremely fun model to paint. Very easy. Didn't take a long time. And here's what he looks like on the cabin and on the game table with the rest of the models. Holden was a blast to paint. Again, they all were a lot of fun. A lot of character, very, very easy to paint and quick. Going for that, tabletop look from about 3 feet away. Again, I hope this helped. I hope it inspires you to paint your models. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And thanks for watching. And please like and subscribe. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching.